Adam Contos, CEO of Remax here. Start with a Win podcast. We are in a remote studio in a secret location unknown to anybody outside
We've
of the
got
government.
sharks with lasers on their heads.
That's right.
It's our secret lair.
That's right. And we're in producer Mark's studio here, Brand Viva Studios.
That's right. We're just down the road from the Remax World headquarters.
Right. We're on the third floor, not the 12th floor today.
That's right. You know, we're like a third of the way up.
Yeah, we're good. We're at the top of the building, though, right?
That's right. We are.
Top of the building at Brand Viva Studios. And we have a very special guest today, don't we?
I know.
Mark?
I'm so stoked. She's like the best. I met her the first time this past year at BOC. And I was just like, this girl is so cool. She has to come on our show.
This is one of my favorite human beings on the planet here.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just jump right in. We have with us the broker of Capital Realty in Florida, originally from California, our favorite Kendall Bonner. How you doing?
OMG. I am so psyched to be here. This is fantastic.
This is super exciting for us because, we're good friends and we talk pretty regularly. And we certainly communicate on social media a ton and challenge each other because you're always into getting me to level up, right? And improve my hustle.
And you get me to start with a win every day. I love it. I love it.
I love it. Kendall, we have a lot of stuff that we could talk about here. Let's start with a little bit about your background. So you're an attorney and you run businesses and things like that. Give us your history a little bit here.
Yeah. So, yes, I'm a lawyer since 2003. I love what we do now, but I always wanted to be a teacher when I was a kid. And my mom said, they don't make any money. So you need to get a JD, MD, or PhD, pick one. So that's how I ended up in law school. And I actually didn't want to be a lawyer. My joke was that I was going to get my MRS degree. And I tell people this story because it's funny. Be careful what you say out loud and what you put out there in the space, because on Saturday, I got married. On Sunday, I graduated law school. And on Tuesday, we were driving from California to Florida. And so I practiced law, did criminal defense. I did workers' comp insurance defense. And I was not, I had no passion for those things. Even though I could work hard and I was good at them, I didn't have any passion for them. And then one day I thought it would be a good idea to get my real estate license for fun. And I thought I would do it part-time. That's how
why not, right?
I was.
Yeah. You look at this, you go, this person eats stress for lunch. And because you've been through a few things there. Hey.
Oh, yeah.
I think I'll go wrap up a few years of education, a big, huge, fat test in the process, get married and the whole thing, and then drive across the country and start over again.
Yes, I know. It was big, but I have no regrets, as I say. No regrets.
I love it. Well, you're kind of you're a super inspirational leader, Kendall. It's awesome to see everything that you do. You're a leader in the community. You're a leader in the Remax network, which, by the way, is a pretty big network, a global influencer, I like to say, Kendall Bonner is. And you're just a blast to work with. So how do you keep your attitude great every day when you look at all the different things you've been through and the stresses and stuff like that? Because I'll tell you, when I get to talk to you, it's like, how do we conquer this, whatever it might be we're talking about? How do we have fun with it? How do we enjoy ourselves? How do we help people? How do we make this fulfilling? What gets you going in the morning?
That's a great question. And I thank you, honestly, because you have done a great job keeping those of us in the network very inspired by your encouraging words all the time and your encouraging leadership. But I have to say, I have been so humbled by some of the things I've experienced in my life that honestly, I'm so grateful in life. I'm so grateful for these opportunities. I'm so grateful for Remax. I feel like Remax has changed my life, and it's my pleasure to participate and give back and be a part of this network because it literally has had such a huge and major impact on me, both personally and professionally. And I guess one of the ways that I stay inspired is by honestly staying grateful and humbled by it. I think I got into this business with an ego. As I think most of us do, we think we could be a realtor, a great agent, or a great broker. And I think there's a lot of ego that exists behind that. Because, now I realize like, oh God, what did I get myself into? I had no idea. You don't know what you don't know. But now that I'm here and I'm in this ride, I'm just so humbled by it and so grateful. So I think honestly, that's what keeps me inspired.
I love that. And I always talk about somebody who had a huge impact on me, just a major company CEO said, stay humble and stay hungry. And you fit both of those things. I mean, you are a humble human being. Even the most challenging situations you walk into with a smile and you're like, okay, we can do this. Let's take a look at how do we make a win out of this. And that fits right into the real estate space, because there are some challenges when it comes to people buying and selling houses. It is not an easy situation a lot of times, nor is it when it comes to running an office. So let's unpack that real quick. When did you become a real estate broker?
That would have been in 2014.
Okay.
And how that came to be, honestly, was that was RE/MAX. I have to give all the credit, literally all the credit to RE/MAX. I used to say when I was a real estate licensee, because I was a listing agent, that I never wanted to be a broker. And then one day I get a sales call. I get a message that RE/MAX called me and they were looking for me to talk to me about opening a brokerage. And I honestly thought it was a prank call. I was like, who am I? Why are they calling me? And so I never returned the phone call. But you have great salespeople. So they followed up and they called me back and I set the meeting, and I'll never forget who came to visit me. I'll never forget the process I went through that led to me opening my RE/MAX franchise. But it was pretty fantastic. It was a pretty amazing experience. I met a lot of wonderful people that I still am friends with today, just that influenced my decision to actually move forward with my RE/MAX franchise. And I bought the franchise before I actually became a broker. So I did that about 2 weeks before I was supposed to open up my office.
Wow. Yeah. I think I'll jump out of the airplane and then put the parachute on, right? So
yeah. I used to have to get up at 5 a.m. to study for my broker's test because I had a full real estate business going during the day. So I used to get up at 5 and study and get that done. I got it done in 2 weeks.
Wow. Nice. So you get into real estate brokerage business, which by the way is not an easy business. It can be very rewarding, if you approach it the right way. What are the big challenges that you've had to overcome in building a business? Because you're a small business owner. What you've taken this and made something rewarding, something fun. Yes, it has challenges, but how did you make this transition through challenges? What does that look like?
So I think some of the bigger challenges in owning a brokerage and building a business like what we are all aspiring to do that are broker owners out there is, number one, structure and systems. And I think that that's one piece of the puzzle that is easier said than done. And part of that is with the structure and systems is staffing. A lot of us think that we can do it all and that we have to do it all because we're afraid to take the leaps to make the investments. So a lot of us are actually living with 3 jobs and have, we're the broker, we're still selling real estate sometimes, we're the recruiter, we're the trainer, we're wearing multiple hats. And one of the things that I think helped me, honestly, not only because my husband and I had our own law firm before we started the brokerage, so I had employees before. I knew all of that part of running the actual business, but I had staff. I had more staff when I opened my RE/MAX than I did agents because I started as an agent of 1. I was the only agent at the time. I refused, out of whatever mindset of integrity that I had at that time, to try to recruit any agents from my current brokerage at that time. I really wanted to purely grow from scratch and, do it the hard way like I always do. But it was, staffing and figuring out the right combination, which I'm finally happy to say 5 years later, I am fully staffed. according to the momentum, according to the Momentum Way, which I'm really excited about. But I will say that momentum, that was probably, other than Remax itself, the second biggest, most influential aspect to my business that really took me from one level to the next. And working with David Scott, that was such a blessing for me. And that program, I still operate under it to this day. And it's life-changing for me. It's been transformational for my agents. And it's something that I'm very, 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 very grateful for. And I'm so glad that we use that program.
We have quite a few listeners that aren't part of Remax as well. Can you give us just a quick overview? What is Momentum?
Momentum is a complete business system for a real estate brokerage. So, and incorporated within that. So it helps me run the company, and it gives me, goals. It sets the plan, it sets the structure, it sets the systems, it sets the daily activities that need to be done. It's, as well as it gives me a structure and a system for my agents. So it gives me a value proposition for my agents as well. And it allows me to be unique, have a different language, have a different approach to how we do things that sets our agents and our company apart from the competition.
So it's a framework for kind of establishing both
business.
Brokerage, the business, the agent's business, things like that. I love that. And it's interesting because, you look at people in the industry, in entrepreneurship, small business, things like that. If you don't have a framework, you're going to have problems. You're going to have challenges because you don't know what to do each day. So,
I think, you have problems no matter what, right? And it's when you add something like Momentum or a framework like Momentum, it helps you to deal with those challenges, and it helps you avoid certain pitfalls. And it's a map. It's really like a complete roadmap, really like a treasure map. Because at the end of that, there's definitely a pot of gold.
I love it. So let's make a transition into the business, talking to agents, talking to other entrepreneurs, things like that. You are a huge proponent of an online presence. And I mean, you've been massively growing your online presence. I mean, you just keep like 10xing it over and over and over again. Why is it important, and how important is it for, let's call it, real estate agents to have an online presence?
Well, one, I think it's 100% very, very, very important. And, there's a difference between being present online and having an online presence. And I learned that from a book that I read by Tony Giorgiano. I'm always going to screw his name up. I'm so sorry, Tony. But he wrote a book, The Social Agent 2.0. And I got so many great nuggets out of that book. And one of them was the differences between that, being present online and having an online presence. And, I'm going to tell agents and those solopreneurs out there, as well as, these Remax brokers, in the past, we had an about page on our websites. Your social media profile is now your new about page. That is where people are going to find out about you. And they don't care about your scripted version of yourself, your bio. They don't care. They want to know who you are. That's know, like, and trust. And what better place to know who you are and to find out who you are and determine if they like you and can trust you than your social profile. Because that is oftentimes the opportunity to be your truest self. And so whether it's good or bad or ugly, what you put out there is what people are going to see and perceive of you. And so that's why I don't separate, for example, a business page from a personal page. My personal social media profile is also my business profile. I know that people are going to go there, both clients and agents and consumers, to learn about me. And so it's very important to me to protect that and to show them who I am in an authentic way, but also to remind myself not to be too personal or too non-neutral, right? So in Tony's book, he also talks about you have to have a digital twin. And I love this concept. And your digital twin is a neutral party. You're not too political, not too religious, not too anything. And because because real estate professionals, he said, this is a quote, he said, real estate professionals do not have the privilege of using social media the way our friends and family do. And that was so powerful for me and such a great message, because I 100% agree with him that that's the future. That is where people are going to go to learn about me. So I want to make sure they know me, but at the same time that I can separate my personal and my professional self.
Okay, so let's unpack this another layer. So you start a social media page, call it a Facebook page, something like that, or a LinkedIn page, or whatever it might be. How do you grow that and stay relevant on there? I mean, give us a daily or weekly suggestion of what do you do, how do you do it, and why?
Sure. Oh, that's a lot. I could speak to, these are my favorite topics, Adam. Jeez.
I know.
All right.
That's why you're on here, Kendall.
Yeah.
And by the way, for our listeners,
yes.
Kendall's really good at this. So listen to what she's about to say. Okay, your turn.
So I believe in having, momentum has always taught me to be intentional and proactive, right? So in order to be intentional and proactive, you have to have a goal, you have to have a plan, you have to have, daily activities, right, that you're doing in order to ensure the plan shows up or the goal shows up, right? And you've got to hold the plan accountable. So I apply that concept to a lot of the things that I do, including social media. And what I've learned is your goal in social media is to do two things: grow your audience and engage your audience, right? And part of how you do that is growing your audience requires you to go out and be social. It requires you to go out and make friend requests, start following other pages, get people to follow you, provide relevant content that people might actually be interested in. So you can do that through video and other types of postings, right? And I'm a huge proponent of video. And in fact, I'm doing a challenge right now with my office. It's called #RCR 100 days. So 100 videos in 100 days, just to help people that have the fear or want to break into a habit of doing more video. You will, by the end of doing 100 videos, you will not be afraid to do a video ever again, I'm sure. And but anyhow, and then in terms of engaging your audience, it's a matter of setting out daily activities that you want to do. So for example, I don't believe in scrolling. I'm not a scroller on social media. I set first, identify close friends and first people I want to see that I know I want to track and pay attention to. I also have groups that I follow and closely watch and find the people that I have things in common with and that I want to learn from and engage with. And then also it's important to me to pay attention to my notifications so when I drop a piece of content, I'm engaging with the people that are engaged with my content. I think it's important for us to reply to every comment, in some fashion. And I think that not doing that, in fact, that impacts the algorithm, guys. Like, you want your content to last for days and weeks. You know what? Sometimes I've even done, oh my God, I'm giving you guys all my strategies.
That's okay.
But don't think that it's not authentic, because it still is. I do reply because I really actually do care of for your comment. But, you can also extend the life of your posts by responding strategically to the comments on your page. So, and I test these things. So my whole thing, Adam, in 2020 is learn, test, teach. So sometimes I do things not because it's all strategy, but I'm trying to learn things and I'm testing the things that I'm learning to make sure they work. So then I can actually teach other people what I'm doing, how I do it, and how they can also duplicate that for their own success, right? So these are some of the things that I've learned. But I think groups are super important right now. Obviously, they're very important to Facebook because they now have their own button. And so I think this is a great opportunity if you want to have your content reach a greater audience, is sharing into groups and engaging in other groups. And then also, even you and I were talking about when you post matters, right? To gain engagement. We're talking about, everyone's always trying to figure out when's the best time to post and things like that. I know I do #Wednesdays, and that's WINS. This is one of the things Adam and I geek out on is
Wednesdays.
winning. Yes. Starting with a win. And I love #Wednesdays. And so when I post those videos, which are meant to be messages for my target audience, which is other real estate professionals, it's to do it early in the morning so that I can I can manage the exposure throughout the day and extend the life of the post throughout the day and maybe even throughout the week.
Wow. That was some gold. And you did share some of your ideas, but you know what's beautiful about these ideas here? There's enough room for everybody on social media.
Oh yeah.
So it's
oh
perfect.
yeah.
And
Well, I just
frankly,
don't want people to think I'm unauthentic, because I am. I promise. I
No.
love all of you so much.
no, you care about connecting. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. Care about connecting, right? I mean, it's blatantly obvious to people when you're not transparent digitally and when you don't care about connecting. So I love it. And I love all that you're doing online. I get to see you in person, call it 3-4 times a year, but I get to see you in person every day. And I love it because I feel like we're just great friends as a result. And that's ultimately what happens when you as a business leader, an agent, broker, whatever, connect digitally with people, especially with your, and this is brilliant, this 100 days of videos. I've heard a lot of people talk about 30 days, which I'm all for. If you can do 30 days of video, you can do 100 days of video. Do it.
Right.
Because by then, you know what? You're either sick of hearing from yourself because you're going to see yourself on video and hear yourself, or you're okay with it. And frankly, you're just going to have to become okay with it because none of us like the way we look or sound. So,
oh yeah, I call it the Shrek syndrome. We all think we look and sound like Shrek, and it's like, but you don't. It's fine.
Right.
And the other piece to that is, think about the body of work that you will have collected after 100 days of video.
Oh my gosh.
You worry about having enough content. It's like, man, you put out content over 100 days, you're going to really fine tune your craft at that point.
I love it. We have, we've like unloaded the value truck on everybody today, Kendall. So lots and lots of information here. I do have one question for you though, before we wrap up here, that I like to ask all of my guests, and that's Kendall Bonner. How do you start with a win?
I think about this because I listened to your podcast, and when I decided to come on the podcast, I knew you were going to ask me that question, and I really wanted to think about that and give you an honest answer. And one of the things that I think is really been an important factor for me in starting my day with a win is I wake up early and I have quiet time with myself. And I honestly, I pray too. I spend that time in prayer. I spend that time just quietly thinking about what the goals are for the day and what I plan to accomplish for the day and what I need to get accomplished. And it's just that, like, almost like meditating for some people. I think that that's been really helpful to me to keep me calm and encouraged and moving forward.
I love it. Kendall Bonner, amazing broker, great human being, digital strategist, business warrior, a woman leader. I'll tell you, Kendall, first of all, I'm honored to be your friend. I'm honored to be in this industry and on this planet with you. And thanks for all you do for us. And thank you for starting with a win.
Thank you, Adam. It's a pleasure, and I feel the same. And the one thing I will say, I think I'm the most, honestly, is a student. And I believe that if we can all, at the end of the day, remain students, you can't go wrong there.
I love it. Thanks, Kendall.
Thank you.